Those are the pictures. An estimated 2 million Muslims in Saudi Arabia. They're there for their annual pilgrimage to Mecca. That is the religion's holiest site. Worshippers are gathering at Mount Arafat, spending the day in prayer, the main ritual of the Hajj. Hashim Al-Bahar reports from Mecca.
This is the Mount of Mercy. It has for centuries been the focal point of Arafat, where pilgrims spend the day in prayer and contemplation. For Muslims, Arafat is a reminder of the Day of Judgment, when they believe they will stand on a plain similar to this one for their final judgment. This is why Arafat is considered the highlight of Hajj. Wherever you go here, you will see people invoking God and seeking forgiveness. Habib Todberger came here from the US. Of Jewish ancestry, raised a Christian, he converted to Islam 2 years ago. All pilgrims here wear the simple white ihram, and all markers of social status disappear.
So a friend of mine who had started learning some about Islam was not herself a Muslim, but started teaching me some things that she had learned, like Salat and Tawbah and doing Astaghfirullah. And I started with that. And then my heart just continued to open more and more.
Habib hopes once he gets back home, he will try to convince his family and friends that he made the right choice.
As my family has concerns and issues. And they also recognize that I have a deep connection with God, with the one God, and believe that people have no idea what Islam is.
Originally from Texas, Habib now lives in California. He says his biggest challenge is to change misconceptions in America about Islam.
It's unfortunate that the media in the States has portrayed Islam as it is, because there's no connection between terrorism and Islam.
As Arafat Day draws to an end, many like Habib continue their prayers in the spot where Muslims say Prophet Muhammad delivered his last sermon. For Habib, this is a new start. He hopes to visit more Muslim countries and discover the true meaning of Islam. Hashim Al-Bahar, Al-Jazeera, the plain of Arafat.
And joining us now in studio to tell us a little bit more about Hajj is Hussein Rashid. He is a religious studies professor at Hofstra University here in New York. How important is Hajj?
Well, thank you, Del, for having me on. And I think when we talk about Hajj, we're talking really about one of these momentous occasions in a Muslim's life. This is something that we all aim for. This is the place that Adam built when he was exiled from Eden. This is the place that Abraham and Ismail rebuilt. This is the place that Muhammad made sacred. This is something that calls out to every Muslim in their heart.
And yet it is only for Muslims. What does Hajj entail?
Hajj is a 3-day ritual for Muslims, as you pointed out, and only Muslims can go there. And they'll go through, today is a day of solid prayer. Yesterday was a day of going around the Kaaba, and tomorrow will be a day of recreating Abraham's sacrifice. And so during this story, you're part Abraham, you're part Hagar, you're part Ismail, and at all the times you're supposed to be thinking about God.
And when we talk about Hajj, a lot of people, especially New Yorkers, remember the scenes from Malcolm X, Spike Lee. They had to what?
You know, the Spike Lee movie is fantastic. They used a lot of local talent, but they also had to have people convert in order to film there. And you see the same thing happening in Saudi with construction. They're bringing in these Chinese workers who have to convert as well.
In terms of the dates for Hajj, do they change every year, or is it a specific set time?
The Muslim calendar is a lunar calendar, which means it's about 11 days shorter than the solar calendar, what we know as the Gregorian calendar. So if Hajj today falls on October 14th, next year it'll probably fall around October 3rd.
And fascinating this year, some changes. There were concerns about the crowds and crowd control, and also concerns about the construction that is taking in and around Mecca. Tell us about those concerns, and specifically wording about the issue of terrorism.
You know, there was a very interesting pronouncement I heard come out of the Grand Mufti of Saudi Arabia today, where he says terrorism is against the religion of Islam. I think that's a fundamental aspect of his belief. You know, the Quran talks about, quoting the Talmud, that if you take one person's life, it's as though you've taken the life of an entire community or all of humanity. And for this Grand Mufti to make this statement, I think takes advantage of this universal ritual that people are looking towards, whether they're there or not, and trying to send a very strong message. But I think what you see is there's a lack of concern as to how people are actually acting within Saudi Arabia. So you oppress minorities, you oppress migrant workers who are doing this construction, you oppress Shia minorities, but at the same time you're saying oppression of people is wrong. So there's a sense of hypocrisy in my opinion.
I have friends that have gone to Hajj. They describe the experience as life-changing. Yourself, will you go?
I would love to go.
And it's expensive.
It's expensive. It is something that you're supposed to be able to do when you can afford it and you can take care of your family. It's something I would love to do. I don't feel I'm spiritually ready for it yet, but it's something I would definitely look forward to.
Professor, thank you for being with us.
Thank you so much.